So Ben, can you tell me what Divergent is about?
Divergent is about a future world where society has been divided into five factions, and each faction is dictated by the moral code that those specific faction think that is the most important in life. And our story is about a group of young people who, at a certain point in their age, they have to choose whether to stay in the faction they were brought up in or to change. And we all decide to become Dauntless, which is a faction dedicated to bravery, and they protect the city. And the film is the adventure that happens from there.
Yeah.
And Christian, you shot the movie in Chicago. Tell me a little bit about what it was like, all you young and sort of being together and sort of bonding real and on the set and being in Chicago.
Yeah, I think shooting in Chicago was cool, sort of the community aspect that city has. It's sort of a home away from home for me because my dad's side of the family all lives there, so it's cool to see Grandpa and stuff. But we couldn't have been there at a perfect time. There's like sort of, we saw the Rolling Stones, we went to hockey games, but it was also great to sort of have this book that we all love so much, and then have that material actually shoot in the same city that the book took place in. Those things usually don't happen with movies, and it was just kind of wonderful to take part in it.
And I know all you Dauntless did a lot of training, and I hear some stories about, Theo showing up in sort of drill sergeant mode. Can you talk a little about the sort of training pre-filming and what that was like?
Yeah.
So we did about 2 weeks of stunt training with J.J. Perry, who worked on Warrior, and Garrett Warren, who worked on Avatar. And to sort of touch on the Theo aspect, it was pretty interesting because I didn't know much about Theo coming into this, except that he had worked with my dad on Golden Boy, and my dad said such nice things about him. But we were sort of rushed in one day with JJ, and he was like, okay, so Theo's going to come in sort of as four and run this little sort of Dauntless training thing, and I was kind of like, okay, cool. And then he really came in and sort of worked us. He made Shay drop down, do 20 push-ups, and it was kind of interesting to watch, but I remember leaving, and we sort of went to lunch after, and I just sort of told Theo, like, yeah, man, you're four. Like, that was pretty cool, so it was great to be a part of that.
The thing about Theo is he's so naturally cool and physically impressive that I remember we came into boot camp on the first day, and he was already in there doing his Muay Thai and his boxing, and he just was naturally the most capable at all these fighting techniques that he didn't really have to try too hard to be the leader.
He has a background in boxing, so he sort of had a little step up on it.
And can both of you tell me a little bit about working with Shailene?
Oh, she was just amazing, because I saw the film for the first time 2 days ago, and having watched the film, Shailene just carries this whole thing, both on screen and then working with her. She was just so down to earth but hardworking, and she gives everyone a hug when she arrives on set. And
True.
I think when she works, she led from the front, and we were so lucky to have someone like that who could be generous and not just think about herself the whole time.
Yeah, I think when I met Shay, my friend Ken Bauman shot a TV show with her, and he would sort of tell me how lovely Shay was, and I was like, I can't wait to meet her, and we emailed a little bit. And when I first met her, it was just like hugs right away. She was so caring, and I think it sort of bled into her work as well, and she was sort of so helpful in the process of having Al sort of have this arc, and sort of like if Will didn't have a line in a scene, she would be like, well, maybe Will would say this, or she was just so caring and sort of making this a little family. And when I read the book, it was like I sort of read it about this core friendship going into Dauntless, and then she sort of created that right in there for me.
Did you guys think, and I mean, obviously the movie is fun, popcorn, epic sort of ride, but did you think about any of sort of the current themes and stuff that was sort of, could be there for the taking, for the, the thoughtful part of the movie-going experience?
I think for the themes of the movie, I think what I took away from it was the best thing you could sort of do is try and be yourself, and you're going to go through a lot of hurdles in life, but you sort of look back at that and go, man, I went through all that, and now I'm here, and you're sort of in this better position. That's what I sort of personalized it.
Yeah, that's certainly the part of the story that resonates the most with me is when you see a story based in the future about young people, making a decision that is going to dictate the rest of their lives. I am kind of so encouraged by that, the moral of that story, which is your own uniqueness is special, and don't be afraid of that, and that you shouldn't think that you have to deny it.
Well, it's interesting, the idea in sort of a post-apocalyptic, future, that at 16 is the age. I mean, I could make a decision to do anything at 16, so I can't imagine choosing something for your whole life. I mean, did you really think about what it would be I mean, from an acting perspective, to be Dauntless and to literally say, I'm leaving it behind and I'm going to go be this badass.
That's the thing, that's the thing about the film is it's so, the stakes are so high for these characters, and for Will and Al and Triss and everyone, we had to remember in these situations that this is life or death. It's not like these characters, if it doesn't work out, it's like boarding school, they can just go home and hang with their family again. This is the life they chose forever, and if they don't make it, then they're factionless. So it was hard to really put that into our context that we could understand. We just had to really try and think about that, and there are societies today where that is relevant. I'm very lucky that it wasn't my background and my life, but I think that is such an exciting part of the story that it's all or nothing.
I know you've probably been asked this a lot, but if you were to have to choose a faction,
if I were to choose a faction, I think it's like the cool thing is to say Dauntless, but I kind of want to say that I would join Dauntless because of how much fun I had sort of during the process, but I think I would probably miss the train jump or something day 2, and then I'd be like factionless.
Yeah, I'm the same. I would try and be Dauntless, and I think if I had to choose a faction, Dauntless would be the one I would strive to be, and then fail honorably.
Are there any fun stories or anecdotes and stuff that happened on the set with you guys? Because you were obviously together a lot. It was a group of people. I imagine there were some pranks and some things that went on.
There was some pranks.
There was a couple pranks. I think the best thing was that everything we did, we sort of did together. And whether it was sort of going to hockey games or we saw the Rolling Stones a couple times. So there were some opportunities we got that sort of other people don't, which was exciting to do as a group.
Yeah.
And did you feel while you were there, and I'm sure a bunch of people ask this too, there's this idea that this is, a franchise movie, you're launching a franchise, et cetera, and that with that comes sort of in today's day and age sort of this fandom, movie-goer frenzy. Have you experienced any of it yet? Did you think about any of that when you were doing it?
We just got back from sort of a pretty crazy tour.
Yeah.
We went to Denver, St. Louis, Miami, and I think the best thing to take away from it is, it is a little crazy, but it's sort of a humbling experience. And we sort of shot this movie a year ago, and to sort of keep, excelling and sort of being a part of this great journey, I think it's awesome that people are having this sort of reaction to it. And the more that they are excited about it, the cooler it is.
It's amazing to be part of a project where people are passionate about it already before the film's even come out. That's the first time I've ever been involved with anything like that. And it certainly takes your breath away how passionate people can be about the story. But I love it. I love meeting anyone who cares that much about anything.
We're out of time. Perfect.
Great.